How you start your morning decides how you live your day. And how you live your day decides how you live your life. That single choice, what you do with those first waking moments, separates those who lead their lives from those who are led by them. Think about it. Every morning before the noise, before the world starts demanding pieces of your attention, you're given a blank page. And what you write on it determines everything that follows. Yet most people sleepwalk through it, scrolling through notifications, reacting to messages, rushing through chaos. They let the day dictate their mood instead of designing it themselves. The truth is, your morning isn't just a time of day. It's your launch pad. It's the one moment where you still have full control. Before emails, meetings, responsibilities, or distractions pull you in different directions, that early hour belongs entirely to you. And that's where your real power lies. Great leaders, visionaries, and high performers understand this secret. The way you wake up determines the way you show up. If your morning starts with stress and confusion, the rest of your day mirrors it. But if it begins with clarity, gratitude, and focus, everything aligns with intention. Most people underestimate how powerful their mornings truly are. They think success comes from big moves, the right strategy, the perfect timing, the lucky break. But it's not. Success is hidden in the small, consistent decisions you make daily, especially the ones nobody sees. The discipline to rise when your mind says 5 more minutes. The courage to center yourself instead of reaching for distraction. The focus to begin your day with purpose instead of panic. Those moments, repeated every morning, are what silently build unstoppable momentum. There's something sacred about the early hours. The world is quiet, the mind is still, and your energy hasn't yet been scattered by the demands of the day. It's the perfect time to connect with yourself, to ask what matters most today. That single reflection can change the entire trajectory of your actions, because without direction, even effort becomes meaningless. Many people work hard, but few work with purpose, and purpose is born in those silent, intentional beginnings. You see, the morning doesn't just shape your schedule, it shapes your story. When you wake up and immediately hand your attention over to the outside world, you're surrendering your authorship. You become reactive, not proactive. But when you take even 20 minutes to move with intention, to breathe, reflect, plan, or learn, you're reclaiming ownership of your life. It's not about waking up at 4 a.m. or copying someone else's routine. It's about aligning your first hour with who you want to become, not who the world expects you to be. Every sunrise is an invitation, a reminder that you can begin again, that yesterday's mistakes don't define today's mindset. The morning is your reset button, your daily opportunity to design not just your day, but your destiny. Because leadership, growth, and success aren't built on occasional inspiration. They're built on daily discipline, and it all begins the moment you open your eyes. So before you rush into your to-do list or get lost in the noise of the world, pause, take a breath, recognize that this moment, this quiet, unclaimed beginning, holds the power to shape everything that follows. Mornings matter because they are the invisible architecture of your success. They are the foundation beneath everything you build. Your performance, your mindset, your focus, your relationships, even your emotional stability. Yet most people treat mornings like something to survive, not something to design. They rush through them half awake, reacting instead of creating. But the most successful individuals, the leaders who think clearly, act decisively, and inspire deeply, they know the truth. How you manage your first hour determines how you manage your life. The science behind this is fascinating. Studies on neuroplasticity and habit formation reveal that our minds are most impressionable during the first 60 minutes after waking. In that window, your brain's neural activity is setting the tone for focus, mood, and motivation for the rest of the day. The chemicals that drive attention and productivity, dopamine, serotonin, cortisol, are all in flux during that time. So if you start your morning in chaos, you train your mind to chase chaos. If you start with calm and clarity, you program your brain for control, direction, and purpose. The first hour is like the ignition key. It sets the entire system in motion. When you understand that, mornings stop being a struggle and start being an opportunity. Imagine your mind as a clear pool of water. The moment you wake up, that water is still and undisturbed. But the first thing you drop into it, a negative thought, a stressful email, a scroll through social media, ripples through everything that follows. On the other hand, if you begin with gratitude, reflection, or movement, those ripples carry peace, focus, and energy outward through your entire day. It's not magic, it's alignment. Mornings matter because they anchor you to what's essential before the noise of the world starts pulling you in every direction. When you open your phone first thing, you're immediately placing yourself in reaction mode, responding to someone else's priorities, someone else's agenda, someone else's energy. You've already lost control before you've even begun. But when you start your day with awareness, journaling, breathing, reading, or simply sitting in silence, you're telling your brain, I'm in charge here. You're reminding yourself that your inner world determines your outer results. Think about the leaders, creators, and innovators who seem unshakable, those who lead with calm under pressure and clarity in chaos. They don't stumble into that state of mind. They prepare for it every single morning. The reason so many high performers have consistent morning routines isn't just discipline, it's self-mastery. They understand that excellence is a daily practice, not a destination. The morning is where they sharpen their tools before they enter the battlefield of the day. It's where they reconnect with their purpose, their vision, and their values, so they can lead with intention, not impulse. There's also a psychological reason why mornings carry such transformative potential. When you wake up, your subconscious mind is still active, bridging the space between rest and awareness. This is when creativity peaks, when your inner voice is the loudest and your intuition is clearest. It's when ideas flow naturally because your conscious mind hasn't yet been cluttered by external input. That's why so many great thinkers, writers, inventors, artists, and entrepreneurs protect their mornings fiercely. They know this window is sacred. It's where ideas are born, where strategy is formed, and where the deepest kind of focus exists. But the importance of mornings goes beyond productivity. It's about emotional leadership. When you choose to begin your day with intentional calmness, you're training emotional intelligence. You're learning to respond rather than react. You're building the ability to navigate stress, uncertainty, and pressure without losing your center. That's what separates leaders from followers. Not power, but presence. And presence is cultivated through small, consistent rituals of grounding and reflection. Many people believe they don't have time in the morning to slow down, to reflect, or to focus. But the truth is, you don't have time not to, because every unfocused morning leads to a distracted day, and every distracted day compounds into an unfocused life. 10 minutes of clarity can save hours of confusion later. One mindful habit in the morning can prevent dozens of reactive decisions throughout the day. Mornings are a multiplier. They amplify whatever energy you begin with. If you start your morning stressed, you magnify that stress in every conversation, every meeting, every interaction. But if you begin grounded, calm, and intentional, you project that energy into everything you touch. You lead with steadiness. You think more clearly. You communicate more powerfully. You make better choices, not because the world is easier, but because you are stronger. That's why the greatest investment you can make isn't in another productivity app or motivational hack. It's in your morning. It's the one part of your day you can fully control, no matter what's happening around you. You can't always predict the challenges you'll face later, but you can prepare your mind and heart for them. And that preparation, that mental and emotional conditioning, begins when the sun rises. There's something deeply symbolic about the morning. It's renewal. It's proof that no matter what happened yesterday, the mistakes, the failures, the disappointments, you get another chance to start again. Each sunrise is a quiet message from life itself. You still have time to become who you're meant to be. That's the power of mornings. Not just in structure, but in spirit. It's the discipline of deciding every single day to live with purpose. When you honor your mornings, you begin to notice something shift. You walk differently. You speak differently. You think differently. Your confidence rises not because the world around you has changed, but because you have. You're no longer chasing the day. You're directing it. You're not hoping for focus. You're creating it. You're not waiting for motivation. You're cultivating it from within. That's what it means to truly master your mornings, to turn them from a routine into a ritual, from a habit into a source of power. The real beauty of this practice is that it doesn't require perfection. It doesn't demand that you wake up at 5 a.m. or meditate for an hour. It simply asks for consistency. Even the smallest intentional action, writing a sentence in your journal, drinking a glass of water with mindfulness, stepping outside to breathe fresh air, begins to reshape how your brain perceives your day. It's a signal that says, I'm showing up for myself, and that self-respect translates into everything else you do. Mornings matter because they remind you that leadership starts from within. You can't lead teams, organizations, or movements effectively if you can't first lead your own emotions, energy, and focus. The first victory of the day is the one you win over yourself. The decision to rise with discipline instead of drift with distraction. Every morning is an opportunity to practice that victory. When you start your day with intention, you set a standard for yourself. You begin to hold yourself to a higher level of awareness, a higher quality of thought, and a deeper sense of purpose. You stop chasing the day, and the day begins to follow your lead. That's not just productivity. That's leadership in its purest form, and it all begins with one choice: how you use the first moments after you wake. Because ultimately, mornings aren't just about what you do. They're about who you become through what you do. Each sunrise is a rehearsal for greatness, a chance to practice mastery, presence, and gratitude. The person who owns their morning owns their life. And when you understand why mornings matter, you stop waiting for the right time to change. You realize the right time begins every single day, the moment you open your eyes. Look at the people who move the world forward, the leaders, creators, and innovators who seem to carry an energy that never fades, a discipline that doesn't break, and a focus that feels almost otherworldly. Their secret isn't found in luck, intelligence, or privilege. It's built day by day in the quiet discipline of their mornings. What separates those who dream from those who achieve isn't motivation, it's consistency. And nowhere is that consistency more visible than in the habits they protect at the start of each day. Take Tim Cook, the CEO of Apple. He's known for starting his day at 4:30 a.m. That's not a performance stunt. It's a leadership choice. In those early hours, when the world is silent and uninterrupted, he reviews strategy, checks customer feedback, and aligns himself with Apple's vision before anyone else even arrives at the office. He doesn't wake up early to be busy. He wakes up early to be clear. By the time most people are scrolling through their phones in bed, Cook has already centered his mind on what matters most. This is what real preparation looks like. It's not about controlling everything. It's about preparing your mindset to handle anything. Then there's Oprah Winfrey, whose mornings have become almost legendary in the world of personal growth. Her routine begins with meditation, followed by gratitude. She sits in stillness, breathes deeply, and aligns her emotions with peace before the day begins. For her, this isn't luxury, it's leadership. Oprah understands that emotional clarity is power. Before she steps into a world of decisions, meetings, and influence, she fills her own cup first. Her day doesn't own her, she owns her day. And that mindset is exactly what allows her to stay grounded despite the scale of her success. Barack Obama also exemplifies the power of consistency in the morning. During his presidency, arguably one of the most demanding roles in the world, he maintained a disciplined morning workout. No matter how long the previous day had been, no matter what crisis awaited him, he made time to move. That morning ritual wasn't about physical fitness alone. It was about mental readiness. Exercise cleared his head, sharpened his decision-making, and gave him a sense of control amid global uncertainty. He once said that routine was his way of eliminating unnecessary decisions. By building structure into his morning, he preserved his energy for what truly mattered. That's wisdom every leader can learn from. Or take Richard Branson, the founder of the Virgin Group. He's spoken often about his morning routine on his island in the Caribbean, rising early, exercising outdoors, and spending quiet time reflecting on what he wants to create that day. Branson describes mornings as the time when his creativity is at its peak. He uses that window not for checking emails or reacting to problems, but for imagining solutions, thinking bigger, and setting the emotional tone for his team. His success across multiple industries isn't just the product of ideas, it's the product of clarity. And clarity comes from rhythm. Howard Schultz, the former CEO of Starbucks, also built his success on ritual. He used to start his mornings with a workout and a cup of coffee while reviewing his goals. But more importantly, he used that quiet time to reaffirm his leadership principles, to remind himself of why he started, what he stood for, and how he wanted to lead others. This kind of reflection kept him aligned not just with his business objectives, but with his purpose. Because leadership without reflection turns into reaction, and Schultz knew the only way to lead with consistency was to lead with intention. Then there's Michelle Obama, who shared how her morning workouts became non-negotiable during her years in the White House. She said that if she didn't take care of herself first thing in the morning, it wouldn't happen later in the day. The lesson here is simple but profound. Self-care isn't selfish, it's foundational. Her discipline wasn't just physical, it was a declaration. I will start my day in strength, not stress. That message resonates for anyone trying to balance ambition with well-being. Mornings are when you set that balance, when you remind yourself that personal health fuels professional excellence. Consider Tony Robbins, one of the most recognized performance coaches in the world. His morning ritual, which he calls priming, involves deep breathing, gratitude, visualization, and physical movement. It's a 10-minute practice that he never skips, no matter where he is in the world. Robbins describes it as training the mind to serve you. He doesn't wait for motivation, he generates it. This habit reflects a truth most people overlook. Emotion is created through motion. By actively shaping his physical and emotional state every morning, Robbins steps into each day with the energy and conviction that define his work. Even Jeff Bezos, who famously avoids early morning meetings, is intentional with his mornings. He's talked about how he takes time to have breakfast with his family, reads the news, and lets his mind wander before diving into work. He doesn't rush. For Bezos, the morning isn't about speed, it's about quality. He believes that protecting that space allows him to make clearer, calmer, and ultimately better decisions. His mornings are a mental warm-up, a reminder that slowing down early helps him move faster later. Indra Nooyi, the former CEO of PepsiCo, has said she used to wake up at 4 a.m. to prepare for her day. But her focus wasn't on the early hour itself, it was on readiness. She used the quiet of those early mornings to read reports, reflect on strategy, and mentally prepare for high-stakes decisions. What made her routine powerful wasn't just the time she woke up, but how she used that time to align herself with her responsibilities and vision. That alignment gave her the edge to lead one of the world's biggest companies with focus and resilience. Let's not forget Elon Musk, who, despite an unpredictable schedule, maintains a morning rhythm focused on priority management. He said that he starts his mornings with problem solving, tackling the most critical issues while his mind is still fresh. This practice reflects a deep understanding of cognitive energy. Your brain is sharpest in the morning before distractions accumulate. By using that window for his hardest tasks, Musk maximizes mental efficiency and reduces stress later in the day. It's not about working more hours, it's about using your best hours wisely. Jack Dorsey, co-founder of Twitter and Square, used to wake up before dawn to meditate and then go for a 6-mile run. His reasoning was simple: clarity through movement. He once said that running was his moving meditation, a time when he could think clearly without interruption. The discipline of that routine gave him both mental and emotional endurance, qualities that carried him through the intense pace of building 2 major companies. The insight here is that physical activity in the morning isn't just about fitness. It's about creating space for reflection and problem solving. But not every powerful morning routine belongs to a celebrity or CEO. Think of the great athletes, Kobe Bryant, for example, who was known for his 4 a.m. club. While others were sleeping, Kobe was on the court. That extra time wasn't just about getting more practice, It was about building a mindset of relentless commitment. Every early morning session was a message to himself. I'm willing to do what others won't. That mentality translated not only into championships, but into leadership, influence, and legacy. Across these examples, one pattern becomes clear. Every great leader protects their mornings like sacred time, not because of superstition or trend, but because they understand something fundamental. Mornings are the meeting point between discipline and destiny. Whether it's through movement, meditation, reflection, reading, or planning, each of them uses the early hours to shape their inner state before the outer world demands their attention. Their routines may look different on the surface, but the principle is universal. Mornings are where they align their thoughts with their values, their energy with their goals, and their mindset with their mission. They don't rely on the day to bring them clarity. They create it. They don't wait for inspiration. They generate it. They don't hope for balance. They build it deliberately, one morning at a time. When you study these people closely, you notice that their success isn't accidental. It's engineered through consistency. Each small habit, the journaling, the workout, the quiet reflection, the reading, compounds over time. These aren't just tasks to check off a list. They're rituals that forge resilience, creativity, and emotional intelligence. And over months and years, those rituals transform not only how they perform, but who they become. What makes their approach so powerful is that it's deeply personal. None of them follow the same script. Each has designed a morning routine that reflects their goals, energy, and rhythm. That's the real lesson. The best morning routine is the one that aligns with your life's purpose. It's not about copying what others do, it's about creating space for who you want to be. In the end, these real-life examples show that mornings are the silent training ground of greatness. They are the hours where clarity meets courage, where preparation meets possibility. The people who shape industries, lead nations, and inspire millions all share one unspoken belief. Success isn't something you stumble into during the day. It's something you prepare for in the morning. They understand that while talent can open doors, habits keep them open. And it's in the stillness before the world wakes that those habits are formed, one intentional act at a time. Now let's move from inspiration to application, from understanding the power of mornings to mastering them. Because knowledge means nothing without action, and transformation begins with small, consistent habits. The great advantage of mornings is that they're predictable. They belong entirely to you before the world demands your time. And what you do in those moments defines your energy, focus, and clarity for the rest of the day. These 5 routines are not trends. They're timeless principles practiced by people who lead with purpose and live with balance. The first habit is gratitude and reflection. Before you pick up your phone or open your laptop, pause. Take a few deep breaths and ask yourself, what am I grateful for today? Gratitude changes your state instantly. It shifts your focus from what's missing to what's meaningful. It's not just about being positive, it's about anchoring yourself in abundance. Start by listing 3 things each morning. They can be as simple as the warmth of your coffee, the roof over your head, or the opportunity to try again today. Gratitude rewires your brain to see possibilities instead of problems. It grounds you emotionally, making you less reactive and more intentional. That few minutes of reflection is the foundation of emotional intelligence, the ability to respond with perspective rather than impulse. The second habit is setting clear goals and priorities. Too many people start their day reacting to other people's agendas. They open their emails and let the outside world dictate their focus. But clarity is leadership. And clarity begins before communication. Take 5 minutes each morning to write down the 3 most important outcomes for your day. Not tasks, but outcomes. This small act of prioritization gives your brain direction. It turns overwhelm into order. When you know your top 3, every decision becomes simpler. You're no longer pulled by urgency. You're guided by importance. And when your mind knows what to focus on, it stops chasing distractions. The third habit is movement, waking your body to wake your mind. You don't need an hour-long workout or fancy equipment. Just move, stretch, walk, breathe, or exercise, whatever activates your energy. Physical motion creates emotional momentum. It releases endorphins that elevate your mood and boosts oxygen flow that sharpens your focus. When you move your body first thing in the morning, you signal to yourself that you're in control. You take ownership of your energy. That single act of movement tells your mind, I am alive, capable, and ready. Even 10 minutes of intentional movement can transform your mental clarity for the entire day. The fourth habit is feeding your mind with growth. What you consume early in the day sets the tone for how you think. Read a few pages from an inspiring book, listen to an uplifting podcast, or write in a journal. The goal isn't volume, it's depth. Fill your mind with something that challenges you to grow, that stretches your thinking or reminds you of your purpose. Every morning, you have the choice to scroll through noise or to study wisdom. Choose growth. Over time, those few minutes compound into new perspectives, stronger beliefs, and better decisions. Your mind becomes sharper because you feed it with intention. The fifth and final habit is visualization, seeing your success before it happens. Close your eyes for 1 minute and imagine the kind of person you want to be today. Picture yourself handling challenges with confidence, leading conversations with calm, and moving through your day with purpose. Visualization is powerful because the brain doesn't distinguish strongly between imagined experiences and real ones. It prepares you emotionally and mentally for the day ahead. When you see yourself succeeding, you prime your subconscious to act accordingly. You walk into your day already aligned with your higher self. These 5 habits, gratitude, clarity, movement, growth, and visualization, create a rhythm of excellence. Together, they shape your inner world before the outer world shapes you. They're not about perfection, but consistency. Not about adding pressure, but creating power. When practiced daily, they transform mornings from routine to ritual, from habit to identity. Because every day you repeat them, you're not just preparing for the day, you're programming yourself for greatness. Every morning, the world hands you a blank page, a new chance to decide who you're going to be. That's the quiet truth most people overlook while they rush into their routines. The morning is your daily audition for greatness, a test not of your talent, but of your discipline. It's not about how early you wake up. It's about what you awaken for. Every sunrise invites you to rise a little higher, to lead yourself before you lead others, to choose growth over comfort and consistency over chaos. Because the world doesn't remember those who wished for success. It remembers those who built it, one intentional morning at a time. There's something profoundly human about the struggle between who you are and who you're becoming. Every morning, that struggle plays out in the silence before the world begins to move. Your bed whispers comfort, your mind suggests delay, and your purpose calls for action. The question is, which voice will you listen to? The leaders, creators, and visionaries who change the world aren't superhuman. They're simply consistent. They choose to rise when excuses sound reasonable. They choose discipline when distraction feels easier. They understand that self-leadership begins in those small, invisible victories, the ones no one applauds, but everyone feels later in their results. To rise each morning is to declare that your life is worth designing. It's to remind yourself that you are not a passenger in your own story. You are the author, and authors don't wait for the perfect time to write, they write anyway. You don't need a perfect morning routine to change your life. You just need to show up for yourself every day with intention. It's not about doing everything right. It's about doing something real. A single act of focus in the morning, a single moment of gratitude, a single breath of awareness. These small sparks ignite momentum that carries through everything else you do. The challenge to rise is not just physical, it's emotional, mental, and spiritual. It's about showing up even when motivation fades, when progress feels slow, when life feels uncertain. It's about trusting that every disciplined morning is an investment, not in the day, but in your destiny. You may not see the results immediately, but over time, the compound effect of showing up becomes unshakable confidence, clarity, and peace. That's the quiet reward of consistency. Knowing that even when the world feels chaotic, you remain anchored. So when the alarm goes off tomorrow, remember this. You're not just waking up to another day. You're waking up to another chance to build, to grow, to lead, to rise. Don't rush into the noise. Don't surrender your focus to distraction. Stand still for a moment, breathe, and remind yourself that your power doesn't come from what you do occasionally, but from what you commit to repeatedly. Every sunrise is a new beginning, but it's your actions that turn beginnings into breakthroughs. The challenge isn't to wake up early, it's to wake up with purpose. And when you do, every day becomes a step closer to the life you were truly meant to live.